is a legal system. There still is a jail system, right? If you try and get off the plantation, they're going to throw your ass in prison. Ask anyone who tries living outside of the system. You become what they call a criminal. So Martin, because he was being attacked by the other part, right? You've got the legal system that controls us. And then you've got the social system that is quasi-governmental, quasi-legal, and that controls us. And it does it through relationships between people, by marriage. See, how many men that were slaves back in the 1800s and 1700s were forced to breed, right? Whether they had wives or whether they were just being bred for the purpose of creating stronger, hardier slaves, right? Those men had children, and they were tied together, right, on the plantation, tied together. And so in order to escape, those men couldn't, right? They felt a strong family tie to everyone else on the plantation, helping to help them. That's what they do with us today. See, I've got my 2 sons, right? And they were growing up, and I didn't want them destroyed by feminism and by socialism. I didn't want them crushed, right, by the system out here. So I stayed married as long as I could, trying to fix that marriage, right? But that's the plantation. You're told everything will be all right. Get back to work, nose to the grindstone. You'll get some peanuts, a little bit of comfort, right? But if you fuck up, we're going to take your kids away from you, right? We're going to destroy you that way. So we're all put in situations. In Martin's case, he lost his job. They were going to have his ass, right, thrown in jail. They were going to destroy this poor guy. So he fled the country, literally, and then had to buy back citizenship in another country, another plantation, no less, the Dominican Republic, but a different plantation, one that probably was less punitive and less restricting than the United States. But he is now a man without his prior country, right? He had to disavow this other system. Being Mgtow is very similar in small ways, in small pieces, to disavowing your country. You're not expatriating the country, you're expatriating the social system in which we live, which we've been told exists, which we've been told we have to participate in. You have to find a woman, you have to get married, you have to have kids. And the more you integrate your mind and your life with that social system, the more enslaved you become. Right? I'm not saying that if you have kids you're not responsible and you shouldn't be. I'm not saying that you should just have kids everywhere and just leave them, right? I'm just saying that as you become integrated with this social system, it controls you more and more. You keep your money in their banks, they own you. You get lots of debt, they own you. You get married, she owns you and controls you over your job, your house, your car, your retirement, your children. Every sector of your life is controlled. The government, the big plantation on high, it has laws and rules and regulations set up to control you and work you. And it taxes you. Right around you, right, in your immediate circle, is your wife and your family. The wife controls you. She has, just like the government above you, she's above you, but close. She's there on a daily basis, punching you, letting you know, reminding you that if you get a divorce, it's over, right? And they love to say that, it's over, right? Meaning your ass is over. They've got you not only, the good parts of your life are over, but you're over a fucking post and they're going to beat your ass and fuck you. Right? The court system, the legal system. Top to bottom, corrupt, anti-man. Your job requires you to behave and speak in such a manner. To speak in such a manner that you betray yourself and who you are. So when you become Mgtow, and if you're married, you still have this wife over you. You've got to deal with that in whatever fashion. Whether you divorce her nice and quiet, whether you tell her you're a homosexual to get away from her, who knows what you're going to have to do if you want to get away, or if you want to work within the system, which is very difficult. But Mgtow is freedom. It is to free your mind from the paradigm of the plantation. That paradigm is you are a slave, you have to deal with it, you have to live in it, and you have to like it. And you have to continue it the rest of your life. You can't change, you can't get out of it, you're screwed. Take your medicine and deal with it the rest of your life, you're done. They just told you you're over. So when we look at Martin's story, his life was over if he stayed here. So he ended up going somewhere else. Very symbolic of Mgtow. If you stay in this system, this social system, where a woman is selected by you think, and then she controls you to keep you in line for the government, the big system up here. That is what it's all about, is controlling you. Mgtow is freedom. When you decide to get rid of that outer layer, very close to you, of a woman controlling you, using your kids, your job, your retirement, your assets, your debt to control you, when you eliminate that, you become free. And when you stop looking at the world right in front of your face, your own life, and you start looking at more life further away, you'll see this government structure, this agenda that is controlling you. And you'll go, my God, it's bigger than I thought. In Martin's case, it was huge. He left the country, he left his culture, he left his family, everything, and had to start over. He says he's got $100,000 in savings. That's awesome. It cost him $250,000 just to get an identification from another country, right? In order to participate in whatever system China has, right? He had a contempt hearing. He had all kinds of trouble, fines, penalties to stay here, and jail time. He saw his wife and her parents. Then he saw the local legal system. He tried getting away from that, and then he saw the entire governmental structure, and he was able to move away from it and start again. And I'm sure there are networks, social networks everywhere that you could find if you were forced to go down those roads, where you see what he's talking about, where there's men all over the world who are trapped as peons in other countries because they have no identity, because they didn't make one. They got free in one sense, and now they're trapped by being a nobody in another. It's very interesting. So he says, get a second passport. I don't know if he's talking about getting a dual citizenship, right? And I think that's what he means. Get a second citizenship, so that you're not just an American. Actually, you're not just a United States citizen. That's different than being an American. Americans, we got this funny thing in our head about being free. We think we're free while we're completely handcuffed, right? Chained to the ground. So, when he talks about having a plan, an exit plan, I think that's a good idea. If you're already Mgtow and you're free, you've got that level. What is the next level you need to work on, or are you satisfied where you're at? You see, I've got my plan, and I talked to you guys about it somewhat, or my situation where I'm at, how I live, the money I save, why I'm not involved in the system. I'm free, or freer than most, but can I be more free? Yes. How do I get there? That's my plan. Right? Can I get even better freedom, better standard of living, better quality of life, better environment? You know, could I use my contacts in life to get even more free? The answer is yes. I'm considering everything, right? But Martin's story, it lets you know the degree of the power of the system that controls us. At the same time, it's inspirational. His story is, right? Your guys' stories are always inspirational as well. What it is we're battling within ourselves, what's controlling us in our life, and what has created the system around us. Mgtow is freedom. If you can break this paradigm of the plantation up, where you can see freedom and you can sense it and realize you want more out of life than to be controlled by a bank, your job, right? The woman in your life. You know, that's what you've got to do. My older son is taking some action, which is impressive.